Our next training video is going to focus on meal planning and preparation. Guys, this is to me the key, the heart, and the soul of being successful in this program. You can learn what foods to eat, you can learn what days to eat them, but if you do not take the time to think ahead about what you're going to be eating, then it's going to cause some undue stress and anxiety. For those of you who like to plan, I have good news. You are going to love this training video. For those of you who are more of a fly by the seat of your pants type of person, this is going to really stretch you and cause you a lot of growth. But every single person watching can do what I am about to ask you to do and teach you to do. As you know, we use MyFitnessPal to track our food. And while MyFitnessPal is not necessarily the most intuitive or the easiest tool to input, it is the app that currently exists that has the largest food database, and that is why we choose it. In a training that I am going to upload in just a little bit, we're going to dive more into the MyFitnessPal app. Right now, we just want to focus on the planning part. But that app is key when planning out your food, and this is why. MyFitnessPal, you can go ahead and load in as many days and weeks worth of food as you want ahead of time. That is not a problem. For some of you, you're going to be on a day-to-day meal plan until you get some more tools and strategies under your belt. For others of you that already have been practicing whole food nutrition or carb cycling in the past, then this is going to be what you will want to tackle next. And that is going ahead and planning out your food in MyFitnessPal ahead of time. When I first started the program, I was trying to plan out one day at a time. I felt like that's all I could handle, mentally process, kept me sane, and that's totally fine. If you can only do one day at a time, that's cool. As I got into the program and felt more confident, I started putting in a whole week's worth of food on either Saturday or Sunday. I would enter in all my food for the next week. And this is why I am telling you to do that. Although it is going to take some time and planning on the front end, probably an hour when you first get started, then as you progress, it'll be 30 minutes, 20 minutes, so on and so forth. Here's the good news, guys. If you spend that hour on the weekend going ahead and planning out your whole week's worth of meals and inputting them into MyFitnessPal, it saves you more than an hour combined throughout the week. So you're going to go in on Monday, you already have a plan. You're not going to feel like you're panicky. What am I going to eat? You're not searching for food. And here's the key. You're not getting to dinner time and looking in your MyFitnessPal and realizing you've somehow got to make up 40 grams of protein, 15 grams of carbs, and you only have 2 grams of fat left. And you are out of food options because you cannot figure out what combinations you need to put together for your macro goals. So if you will take time on either Saturday or Sunday, you can jot it down on a piece of notebook paper and then start entering it in MyFitnessPal, or you can just go straight to MyFitnessPal. It is going to save you so much time. Here's the deal with meal planning and meal prep. I like to choose things that are comfortable and I know that I like. This is not the time, you guys, to go looking all over Pinterest and the web for brand new recipes that you've never cooked before that you want to try. This is the time to stick with what you know. And unless you are just super opposed to it, here is the trick I'm going to give you to help you survive the first 2 or 3 weeks of the Faster Way. I want you to find a couple of lunch and dinner options that you can repeat, that you don't mind eating over and over again. Because here's the cool thing about the MyFitnessPal app. There is a copy and paste feature in each day. So if you click on lunch or dinner or whatever, if you click the 3 little dots to the right, it will say copy from, and you can choose the date and it enters all of that food for you automatically. So for example, Monday and Tuesday, I usually eat the exact same thing when I break my fast when I eat my lunch and when I eat my dinner. Now, if you have a large family that you're feeding, you might not have enough leftovers to do that, and that's fine. So what I would suggest to you, if you're not planning on eating the exact same meal for 2 days in a row, or if you're just the person you're like, I don't like eating things twice, or I don't like leftovers, this is what I would do. I would go through and I would figure out, okay, what are 2 really good dinner meals that I can have for low carb day? Maybe it is a beef and broccoli bowl, Asian inspired, and then your other option is a filet with a side of asparagus and some fresh roasted squash. And then every Monday, I would eat beef and broccoli. And every Tuesday, I would eat the filet and asparagus. That way you know everything's already entered, it saves you time, and you know it is a good choice for that day. You can copy and paste the date, copy and paste the meal. So that's what I choose to do. You can do whatever works for you. If you have more time in the kitchen at home and you really like to experiment with new things and try new things out, then by all means, you go for it. If you are super busy or you're already overwhelmed with all this information coming at you, I am here to tell you, keep it simple. It does not have to be difficult. Guys, recipes don't even have to be complicated. If it is a high fat day and you want to grill that steak on the grill and put some roasted veggies with it, go for it. If it is a regular macro day and you want to do baked chicken and a sweet potato and a side salad with lots of chopped up veggies on top, that makes a perfect meal. The easier it is and the simpler it is, the more likely you are to be successful and stick with the program. Another question I get a lot of times is, what do you use to season your foods? What do I need to go buy? Butter, salt, pepper, or oil, salt, pepper. That's it, guys. That's how I keep it super simple. You'll see on my Pinterest page and you'll see on my Instagram page, most of the meals I make at night when I get home from work, because I am so exhausted and I do not want to be cleaning tons of dishes, I do a lot of 1 skillet meals and I do a ton of 1 sheet pan meals in the oven. All my protein, all my fats, all my carbs and veggies go in one place, whether that's a skillet on the stove or a cookie sheet in the oven with parchment paper. It cooks all at once. I have one thing to clean up. I will also confess, at one point I ate straight from the skillet instead of even putting it on a plate, so I didn't have to put that plate in the dishwasher. So keep it simple, keep it easy. When you're thinking about meal plan and prep, try to plan ahead of time. It's going to save you a lot of heartache. Here's the other 2 bits of advice when planning and prepping. Number 1, instead of thinking of your meals as breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, you can actually go into MyFitnessPal and change those labels. You might want to change the labels to break fast, as in breaking your fast, meal 2, meal 3, snack 1, snack 2. You can even change it like we talked about the other day and have checkpoint 1, checkpoint 2, checkpoint 3. However you are going to set up your eating schedule, that is totally fine. You might be eating 2 large meals. You might be eating 6 smaller meals. Go ahead and set your MyFitnessPal up that way. And then as you're planning and prepping, this is what I want you to do. If you know you're going to have a larger item or something you're really looking forward to, like that filet, or you're going out for a special dinner and you are thinking through what you're going to be eating. I'm going to be eating at a steakhouse, so I'm going to have, lobster tail and a baked potato, whatever it is. Put those items in first and then build the rest of your day around it. We're going to get more and more in depth on meal planning and prep later on. This is just kind of a basic overview to explain how I attack meal plan and prep. But again, I sit down on Saturday or Sunday, I map out my whole week. I start by putting in the items I know are my bigger items first and build out around it. And I can tell you with full confidence, when I first started, it took a lot of thought and a lot of planning, a lot of shifting around. I would find that cashews had a lot of carbs, so I needed to stay away from those on Monday and Tuesday, but I could have almonds because the fiber content with the carbohydrates brought it down to a lower net carb. You're going to figure all these things out as you go. And as you're planning, you're going to be able to start pairing foods together that make sense, and you're gonna know what those are. Now, you're probably thinking, why can't you just give us a meal plan? Why can't you just give us a list? Tell me what to eat on Monday, Tuesday. Tell me what to eat on Wednesday, Thursday. Please help me out. And here's why I'm not going to do that. There's a couple of reasons. Number one, if I handed you all those things, you would not learn how to eat for yourself. And this program, guys, is not about what I tell you to do. It's about you learning and educating yourself what works best for you, your family, your taste, and your body's needs. You might not like Brussels sprouts, and if I told you to eat Brussels, it might derail you. So I want you finding foods that you like, that you want to eat, and then plugging them in on those days. Another reason why I don't hand you a meal plan is because a meal plan gets tough to follow sometimes. Life happens. We're going to have graduation parties. We're going to have birthday parties. We're going to have weddings. We're going to have anniversary dinners at really nice restaurants. We want to celebrate with friends. So I'm not handing you a meal plan to give you the flexibility to be able to shift and move things around during your day. So that is another reason why we want you to investigate these foods, to look around, and to start prepping and planning what works for you for that particular day. Plus, it's really awesome because if I'm craving tacos on a Monday, I can have tacos. I just get rid of the shell. If I want tacos on a Thursday, I have tacos and I add in the corn shell. So it gives you a lot of flexibility to eat what you want when you want, as long as we're keeping it within our macros and within our carb cycle. The only other advice I have to give you about planning and prep is when you're thinking about your week, think about some things that might be easy, especially if you have kids or a spouse that's not following the program. Think about things that are easy for you to tweak so you're not making two separate meals. If you are making spaghetti for the whole family, you can have the red meat sauce or the sausage and the sauce, whatever you're making. You sub in some zucchini noodles, or get some of the Banza noodles, which we'll talk about later, which is a chickpea-based noodle. Sub those in and make the regular noodles for your family or your friends or your spouse. If you are having a taco night, let your kids have the shells and all the other things, and you build a taco bowl. So there are ways that you do not have to totally reinvent your life and make two separate meals for everyone. There are ways that you can make small little tweaks to your food, to your meals, to your prep and planning, so that you're fitting in your carb cycle and your macro goals while also meeting the needs of your whole family. So my biggest advice with meal plan and prep is start right now planning out your next day. If that's not too overwhelming, then try to go ahead and put in 2 days at a time, 3 days at a time. Build up to where you are entering in your MyFitnessPal your whole week at one time. It's going to save you so much stress. The beauty of it is you wake up that morning, you have a plan, you have a path. For those of you who are working and taking food with you, it's easy to throw that in a lunch bag and go without trying to figure out every single morning what you're going to eat for the day, because guys, that gets exhausting and that's not sustainable. So meal planning and prep, the heart of this program, the key to being successful truly. Try to get that food in ahead of time. Think about, as you're planning, checkpoints instead of specific meals. You might have to change the way you think about breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It doesn't have to be necessarily traditional foods that we eat. And you can plan foods that you love on days that you want to fit them in. I hope this has been helpful. As always, if you have any questions about meal planning or prep, put those questions in our daily thread. I'll be happy to answer those. And we will do a way more in-depth training on meal planning and prep as we get into the program. Have a wonderful day.